Thank you guys so much for joining me today for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. So, I am so excited about my next guest. We actually met Michelle and I through a mutual contact, Aaron Bear. So, I'm excited to have Michelle here today. When I spoke with her on my first meeting, I just was so inspired by her strength, her positivity, clarity. I mean, with all the stuff she's experienced, and it's just really an amazing, amazing story. So I'm so excited to have her here today. And before we get into some questions about what this story is and all that, we're going to give her a few minutes to introduce herself.
Okay. Well, my name is Michelle Moraz. I'm an international speaker, author, coach, podcaster of Denim and Pearls, and now an internet TV show called Mental Shift. I've lived in Colorado for the past over about 16 years. And before we get into the conversation, I'll give you a high level. I used to be a bookworm that did a lot of quality assurance things, and now I'm an international speaker. So let's figure out how I got there.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, it is definitely quite a journey. And I'm so excited to have you here today because right now, a lot of people are kind of going through these mental shifts because of what we experienced in 2020. And we're looking forward to better days. But then as you watch the news currently, it's still crazy. So I'm really excited to have you here, being able to give us some practical advice on how we can overcome some of the obstacles that are out of our control. You know, you just really have reminded me the importance of that inner strength that allows you to overcome so many things that happen when you're not expecting them, so to speak. So I will let you kind of start at any point you feel comfortable sharing, but I think it's a great segue for what people are really experiencing right now as they work to reinvent themselves and move forward.
Okay. So I'll give you a lot of background because I think I'm echoing. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm in 2014, I was in a car accident. And before that, I was running political campaigns, writing for other people, things like that. And then in 2014, I was in a car accident. And then for 12 days later, I was fine until 12 days later when I stopped speaking. And then I stopped the ability to walk. And what had happened is I obtained a traumatic brain injury and we didn't know it. And for 18 months, I could not walk or talk without assistance. I didn't talk, really, is what it was. And that 18 months I thought was only maybe a month or two, but it was over 18 months. And I had to stay locked in my mind, having conversations and arguments with my inner critic and not being able to say anything out loud. So imagine if you got stuck in your head with all the thoughts that go through your head when you're having self-doubt and you can't talk. And my inner critic kept telling me, you're supposed to die. You lost your voice because you have nothing to say. You can't walk because, it was just ripping me apart. And I had to fight it inside of my head because I was getting suicidal stuck in my head. Now, that was a scary thing for me because I love life, but here I was arguing with myself on whether or not I should live or not. Now, so 18 months stuck in my head, and I had a God moment. I was in my living room telling God, if you hate me so much, then kill me. Just kill me. I don't want to do this. And I heard, "You're not dead yet. Get up." And in that split second, I saw every time I thought something bad was happening to me, every time I thought I was alone, every time I thought I was forsaken, every time I was left in the dark. And I realized I was never alone. There was always someone with me. And I fell to my knees and I said, "Thank you for every trouble I've ever had. Thank you for everything that I ever thought was bad because it made me into who I am. And if you would just allow me to have my brain back, I will walk through any door you want. I will be what you envisioned me to be. I won't fight." Then it was the same day. I got an email that said, "We'd love you to join on TEDx." Didn't even know what a TEDx was. I'd been incapacitated for 18 months, but I had promised to say yes to everything. So I wrote back, "Yes." And then I looked up what a TEDx was. And so I did this little TEDx with a brain injury with Dory, the 3-second memory. But I did it, and I just kept walking. And here's my thing. I walked, and then I started being asked because of the TEDx to come speak at other stages. And I was asked I won an award at the John Maxwell team for my attitude, because they couldn't believe my attitude stayed so positive with losing so much of my past. And then I won another award out in India, and I just kept going. And in that trip, before I went to India, I found out I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And people are like, holy smokes, lady, you just got diagnosed with breast cancer. You have a brain injury. I said, well, here's 2 bonuses. My memory is so short, I keep forgetting I have cancer. And if my brain is really going to shut off, then it doesn't matter if I have breast cancer. And so I just kept moving. And I said, my husband's like, please don't go to India. Don't. Your immune system's too low. And I said, because the doctor said they gave me the diagnosis, they said I would only have about 3 months to live, because they didn't know how long the cancer was in my body, kind of thing. And my husband's like, don't go to India. And I said, if I'm going to die, I want to die doing what I'm meant to do. So I went. I went all the way to the other side of the world with no medical care. And I took a big risk, but I went out there and I lit up. I lit up. It was exactly what I was supposed to do. It was everywhere I was supposed to be. And I traveled more. I went to Dublin, Ireland, and I came back and just started speaking more. And then I didn't die. So that's when I got my whole perception of stop apologizing for what you're not. Stop looking back and doing, I wish I did, or how come, or my parents said I should have done. Wow. Stop. Where are you today? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Then walk to it. Stop apologizing. Be unapologetic about who you are. And when I did that, now, granted, you've got to take it. It was a process.
Oh, it's a journey. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So when we're doing the cliff notes. Yeah, I get that.
If you look at my journey from the beginning, you see my TEDx. I was over 300 pounds. I was like 389 pounds on my TEDx. And I declared to the world that day I was going to be intentional about how I lived. And then I kept doing more and more. I kept trying new things. I kept doing something different. If it worked, I would do it. If it didn't work, I stopped doing it. And so I just slowly adjusted. And here I am today, and I'm still growing, and I'm still thriving. And people say, how did you do that? How did you handle all that change? What was the alternative? So I'm asking all of you who are watching right now, whatever you're going through, it might be bad. Yeah, it may really just totally be the worst thing in the world. It could be the most horrible situation, but what's the alternative to that? People say, oh, you went through this and you still believe in God? Yes, I do. Well, if he's going to torture you like that, I do. He's growing me into something. I take great pride in everything I've gone through, and I don't blame anything. I say thank you, because I would have never been here if I didn't go through that journey. So what journey are you going through? And what blessings can you find in it? And that's the magic of finding resilience and finding that mental shift, is finding that nugget, that diamond in the rough, in all the rough. Because once you can see that, the world opens up for you.
I love that. And, and that rough is definitely something to kind of pause right there and think about, because now we can see the aftermath. The journey has unfolded. But, the 18 months of not being able to speak, the time where, your husband is saying, hey, this is not a good place for you to go, right now, doing what's going on with you. So talk to somebody about that inner knowing versus the voices around you that are saying something different. That strength that you have to have. What do you, because it's about you creating the path for yourself. So talk to somebody about that place and how, they can call on that inner strength.
Okay. Well, I wrote a book while I was stuck in my head. And I wrote two, actually. One's called Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, but the other one is called It's Not Luck, Overcoming You. And what I did is I talked through the voices that were happening in my head. I wrote them in there. And then I wrote the story that I told myself to oppose it. So whenever you're having things like that happen in your head, the way you can tell the difference between that inner critic that's holding you back and the inner critic that is actually nudging you. Now, what I found was those inner critics that I thought were holding me back, in the long run, it wasn't, you can't do that. It was more saying, prove how much you want that. And that was huge. You're not good enough. And I kept doing, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't be. And you would get this sinking feeling of, then what am I doing on this planet? I mean, you get this down feeling. But when you shift it to, it's challenging you, it was like, you're right. I can do this, and I'll find my way to do it. And if no one else was doing it at the time, it's not like you can look at other people and say, how do you get out of a brain injury? And keep, no, I had no one to look at, so I had to make my own path. And what people don't realize is just because you don't see other people doing it doesn't mean it can't be done. It means you have a special magic in you that will show and open a path that no one else could have ever seen. And basically that's what I did, is I would walk in a direction. I would just pick a direction and I would start walking towards it. And if it started not working, I'd do, okay, well, is there another path I need to take? And then I'd walk in another path. But that's really what it's trial and error, A/B testing, but move. If I sat on that chair and just complained about what I didn't have, you have to understand, traumatic brain injury, I'm missing my frontal lobe, over my left ear, the back of my head, and my two hemispheres had disconnected.
Wow.
By all scientific terms, I should not be talking.
Wow.
But because I felt like I needed to do something, I needed to prove my life, that I wasn't just a doorknob. I needed to prove that I did something. And, my husband's like, but you have children, you have wonderful children, but there's more. I needed to do more, or I would have left this planet thinking I didn't do enough, And so I kept pushing myself. I'm missing, they're dead 4 spots in my head.
Wow.
But because I kept trying and kept working and kept testing and finding different therapies that would work. I mean, the hospital was giving me, pills and stuff to stop the pain, but the pain, that wasn't helping me rewire my brain. So I found ways of rewiring my brain, and I found the nutrition that would feed my brain so that it would heal. And honestly, I think, well, the doctors say that I saved myself by eating healthier and taking in more vitamins and seeing where the deficiencies were when I was fixing my brain, because it helped with the cancer.
Wow.
Inadvertently, taking action back then helped propel me easier through my cancer journey. So you never know what bad you're going through, the steps you take to make it better, what it will do to save you from the next big thing.
Yeah. I love that. And, so this is a good point because, knowing yourself well enough to heal yourself, now you didn't say that you studied medicine, or anything like that. So, walk us through this whole process of kind of knowing what's good for you and how to heal your own brain, because that's not a conversation you're going to call your friend up and say, hey, girl, I have this brain thing. Normally we can give advice for all kinds of stuff, right? But that's something you're not going to get every day. One, even people don't understand the terminology. So I like this because this is like, it may not be a brain injury for somebody else, but it's that knowing that something, whether you went to school for it or not. So talk us through how you got to that place to do your own research.
Well, I've got to tell you, I didn't do research because I'm missing 4 areas of my brain. I have the attention span of a goldfish, literally. I mean, I can be looking at one spot, turn around, and then forget I was looking at you in the first place. I mean, I've gotten much better over the past 4 years, but really my memory is it comes in and out. If I'm tired,
Okay.
it's gone. So really what I did was I kept seeking out help from other people. And I said, listen, I need help. My brain, I need my brain back. What can you do? Well, do. And so I would do it and I would put it in my calendar. My calendar. We all have it.
Right.
I would put it in my calendar of things I needed to do. So, and then I would put little reminders up and I would tell my husband, okay, to help my brain, they said I need to drink more water. Okay. So he got me this big jug of water and we would put a mark on it. And I'd always know I have to drink this till this, when the alarm would go off, I knew I had to be at a certain part in that bottle of water. So we would just do things like that. And then I went to an herbalist. Now, and then she's like, showed me what was missing out of my body nutrition wise. Okay. So I fixed my vitamin deficiencies. And then I went to a man called Dr. Paul Sheely. I met him at the John Maxwell conference, and he was a mindset guy. And he helped me learn how to meditate. I don't know if you have heard that before, but people, meditation is the most amazing thing ever. Why? Because it turns the voices off in your head. You stop arguing with yourself. You start doubting yourself and you listen to your heart and your spirit. And it's a magical thing. I personally think that a lot of my growth came from getting very quiet. And by being quiet in my mind and in my meditation, it was almost like my body would tell me what was hurting. It would tell me what was wrong. And I would do, okay, well, I feel it was like it would tell me it didn't like this food, or it would tell me I want this food. It was weird. And like the things that I found was when I would crave something really sweet, what it wasn't sweet. It wanted salty. But my brain would think it was sweet. It was just the bizarrest thing. But when you learn to be quiet, your body tells you what it likes and doesn't like. And I can't explain it unless you've experienced it. So for those of you who pray, that quietness in your prayer, take it 2 steps down, even quieter. Don't talk. And just be in the moment, in the energy, in whatever that force is among you. And then while you're in that state, ask before you go into that state, say, before I go into my meditation, I want to, work out, why do I feel so anxious around such and such? And then you go into your meditation, your brain will process it. And when you come back out, you've worked through it. It's almost like it's not scary or frightening anymore. But definitely, I use something called paraliminals from Dr. Paul Sheely. He taught me how to meditate. He taught me how to question the voices that I heard in my head and to question myself. I mean, one of the biggest quotes I use is called, it's from Byron Katie. And she says, there's 3 types of business in this world, or we changed it to 3 types of control in this world. My control, the other person's control, and God and the universe's control. When you learn to control yourself and how you react and how you respond, life gets a lot easier. So I became very good at controlling me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I mean, that is such a good, I love all the illustrations that you brought up because that is so true. And the questions are really where the power comes from. So often we just do things mindlessly, out of habit. We don't even think why we're doing it, or we say things because we've heard it be repeated by other people. But to take that time to consciously think, I mean, and ask those questions is key. That's a game changer. Mm-hmm. So you're doing all these things, it's a pandemic. You've got some books that are coming out. You're a speaker. I mean, you've got a TV show. How do you do it just with, in general, somebody, that hasn't even gone through what you've gone through, would struggle with that. So now, how do you do it all? What are some tips that you could give the audience that's watching to be able to manage all that you're doing?
I'm very organized. Okay. I am and I'm not. Okay. This is how my organization is.
Okay.
I don't work Saturday and Sunday. I don't work Wednesday. I only work Tuesday and Thursday. But here's the thing. I become more efficient with more time off. When I worked every day, it was like it really wasn't working. But once I gave myself time where I said, no internet, no TV, no anything. It's just me and a book or just me and my thoughts, and I'm going to write things down. I get so much done when I'm off. So I go away, and I have a cabin out in the mountains of Colorado. I go away for the weekend and I have no internet. The magic is time blocking. So here's the thing. When I had my brain injury, I had to have a schedule because I couldn't remember when to go to the bathroom, eat, take my pills, eat. I mean, I have it in my calendar and my alarms. Wake up, go to work out, sit down, go to the bathroom. I mean, really, it's that specific in my phone because I forget. So I have time blocks where in the morning, it's all about me getting into my own head and listening. And then I have my prayers, and then I do my workout, and then I do my intentional journaling of the day of what I plan on doing for the rest of the week. I didn't say for the day. I go further out because I already done the day. The day's done. I'm ready. I'm done by 6 o'clock in the morning. So there's so much I do before the rest of the world even wakes up. And then I have my calls that are very high priority calls first thing in the morning. And then I do all my podcasts and things like that. So I have things broken up in little segments. Even when you asked me when I would join you on my podcast, the reason why we had to wait so long is I only work Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I couldn't put you in my Wednesday. That's my off day. I can't do that, right? It's to block your days so you or your time in your day of special time for you and your kids, special time for just you, special time for you and your spouse. I mean, so I have things so blocked out, and I went, you know what? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Wednesday, no one touches. Friday, I had to do my podcast with my co-host on Denim and Pearls on Fridays at noon. So that's the only thing I do on Fridays. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's just me and my husband. No kids, nobody, just my husband and I. So my weeks are full, but my Tuesday, Thursdays are ridiculously productive. And by being that specific, I get a lot done. So even though I say I'm working Tuesdays and Thursdays, it doesn't mean that I'm not processing things on Monday and Wednesday, right? I'm still processing. And then on the weekends, I'm doodling. So that's how I wrote my books. I mean, so although I'm off, I'm doodling and cartooning and drawing in my head and thinking. Tuesday and Thursday are computer time, work, get it out of me. So how do you get productive? Know how to use your time.
I love that.
We all have the same amount of time. So it's not like Michelle has 38 hours in her day. That's why she gets things done. No, I have a brain injury. My brain stops at 8 o'clock at night. So I start out early and I end early, but I get a lot done. I don't watch TV though. Okay. So I don't waste a lot of time doing other things that give money and thoughts to other people. I work on my business, I work on my family, and I work on me.
I love that. Yeah. And I love that I give money to other people, things that do that. I mean, that is just key. You know, I think we have to have that element of being real, telling the truth about some things instead of living in a fantasy. You know, so often we just, dance around topics. And the truth of the matter is we have to lay things out there clearly because it allows us to kind of ignore and be in denial. But when you're faced with the fact of, I know I struggle with this being a victim with my depression. It was that victim mode. And, the more you hang on to that, the more you're not going to get anything done. It's not serving you to hold on to it. You got to say, I'm acting like a victim. Let me snap out of this and move forward. But I think there is so much truth to scaling back and having those days that you work because it's something about showing up. I mean, the things that you do, the energy that you bring, it takes energy to show up the way you have to show up. People just being inspired by your story. So I love the fact that you're like, what your limits are. You know what you really can put out there. And I think it's after you have that experience that you understand filling your cup back up. And the more you pour out, the more you got to fill your cup back up.
Listen, I fill my cup to overflow is what I do. But But that's so
Right.
magical. I mean, we have to understand ourselves so well. I mean, like I told you, but my depression, it was bad, but I had to remember I can stay in the hole or I can just drag myself just a little bit out, just a little bit. And every day I would get a little braver on how far I would dig myself out of that. And then soon it was like, I don't really like that hole. I don't want to go back. And so there was so much learning that happened in the dark times. And what's funny is in the past 3 years, I guess it's not funny, but ironically, in the past 3 years, I've had 8 major surgeries. Major. Every 6 months, someone was cutting me open. Like I said, I'm in a cancer journey. So that was something that I see a lot of people get really depressed. Oh, I'm getting surgery. Oh, I'm going to die. And, don't focus on what the negative is. You can put as much energy in the positive outlook of what could happen as you are doing with the negative. If you can think negative, you can think positive. So for all the surgeries, everything that we went through, every time they do, oh, we need to cut this out or you're going to die. Oh, we got to cut this out or I could have went right back into my dark mode and went, okay, never mind, take me. But instead, it's like, instead of focusing on the bad that could happen, it was like, okay, I only have, X amount of time left. I'm never promised tomorrow, so I might as well do my best to make today the best day of my life. And my encouragement to people I coach is live your best life every day in that moment. And when you have bad things happening, stop focusing on the negative. You can be human, okay? Look at the negative for a little bit and do, oh, I'm so sad. I'm so worried. I'm so angry. And then do, what are all the possibilities that can happen from this? Then focus on those instead. I think I've pulled myself through with positivity through everything I've gone through, because you can use the same amount. It's the same amount of energy. Might as well use it for something that lifts you rather than drags you down. Right?
I loved it. Yeah. And, and so the last question that I would ask, I mean, time goes on. I could just stand here for hours talking to you because I'm telling you, it's just amazing. Just your poise and strength through it all. But, the element of being inspirational, anybody can tell a story, anybody can relay what they've been through, but you just have this way of inspiring people to take action. And not everybody has that. So for somebody who's watching, what advice would you give them about the key to being inspirational rather than just
telling?
Yeah.
The key to being inspirational is speak from your heart. I say nothing that comes out of me unless I truly mean it. And really, honestly, when I tell people I love you, I love the human race. I love you in your good and your bad. Just like, if you're all family to me. If I haven't even met you, you're family I haven't met yet. Give from your heart when you're sharing your stories. When I share, I am telling you like I would tell my baby. Okay, someone I love so much that I would never let anything hurt them. That's how I share my story. The passion is because I went through so much. I don't share it just for people to say, oh, war was hers, man, she's gone through so. No, I don't share it for that because I don't think that. I think I'm sharing. I know I'm sharing because I don't want you to go through what I went through. I'm sharing because if I can make you feel some of my pain and some of my that you won't say, well, that's her. And when it happens to you, you don't move. If anything happens to you, I want you to, well, that lady, Michelle, she went through some really hellish things. And she said to focus on the good. And if she can focus on the good, then I'll focus on the good. Yes, that's what I want. And so that's where I speak from, of the possibilities of the seeds I'm planting in your minds. So when you have bad things happen into your life, realize that maybe they're not bad. Maybe they're pulling you from something you shouldn't be in. Maybe they're helping you become a better version of you. Maybe in my case, like me, made me a healthier me so I could live longer, so I can be with my family longer and give back to the world longer. Not all bad is bad. Sometimes the bad leads to amazing good. And if you watch my story, go to my website, look at my old story, my TEDx to now. Many bad things have happened to me. and I'm better because of it. You just have to keep your head up and keep looking for the light. Look for that nugget, and I promise you, you can make it through. It may not be pretty, it may not be smooth, but you will make it through it because I believe in you.
I love that. That is so good. And so tell everybody how they can follow you. You have your podcast, your courses, books that are coming out. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Just go to my website. There's just too much to mention it. But if you go to my website, it's michellemarass.com. So MichelleMarass.com. You can find all my links to all social media, and you can find my Denim and Pearls podcast and my Mental Shift show on TNC. And then my books, I think the links are also on my website. And I'm also in some sci-fi movies, and the new one's coming out very, very soon. So look me up on IMDb. I'm on IMDb.
Girl.
I'm in 3 movies. And I'm a voice narrator for children's books too. So there's so much about me that not many people know. But if you watch me and you join me on social media, find me, you'll learn a lot more. I don't list everything I do because
you know, it was so funny. I would listen to a speech a couple weeks ago, and the guy got up and he said, "You know, I'm a plumber. I help you with your plumbing, and I also can help you with your air conditioners. I can help you with your radio." And you know, he started saying all these things in jest, and he was like, "You know, as I say more things, my credibility is going down." But I think when people overcome traumatic things, it's just like you said, you just take every opportunity to live, to learn. You end up doing a lot of stuff. You know, I mean, I can relate to that. People are like, how do you do it with 15 kids? It's like, look, what else am I going to do? Sit in the bed and, stare at the ceiling? I mean, you got to get out there and do stuff. There's things to be done. So I get that. So this is just wonderful. Well, look, you guys, I encourage you to reach out to Michelle. She is definitely, just like we're talking now, this is how she is all the time. And so a great opportunity for you to move out of your comfort zone, hear somebody else's story, get some tips, some strategies on how you can leverage and get out of that hole that you might be in and move forward to better things in 2021. So before we leave, I would like for Michelle to give us a last thought, some kind of idea that she wants to share with us for 2021, or just in general, whatever's on your heart.
I like to share the story about the carrot, the coffee bean. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's the carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. Which one are you? A carrot starts off hard, and when things happen and it's been put in hot water, what happens to a carrot? It may be strong at the beginning. You put it in hot water, it gets soft and malleable, right? It just kind of squishes away. The egg seems so fragile, but when you put it in hot water, it gets hard and kind of stinky, right? It gets hard and stinky, and it just it doesn't break really easy anymore. Then there's the coffee bean. It's hard at the beginning, really bitter at the beginning, but when it goes through hot water, it becomes this aromatic, beautiful, wonderful tasting drink. Which one are you? When bad things happen into your world, are you a carrot that will come out soft and unable to stand back up? Will you be the egg that was fragile at the beginning, and go through the hot water and become so hard that you don't even want to see the world anymore? Or are you going to be that coffee bean that goes through the hot water and comes out the other side better? You choose. Are you the egg? Are you the carrot? Are you the coffee bean? I choose to be a coffee bean, and I hope you join me too.
Love that. I'm a coffee bean girl. Coffee beans together. All right. Well, you guys, we want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Michelle, for your words of wisdom and insight. And I'm going to go back and watch the replay so I can take my notes, because normally I am just feverishly writing things down. But you said some great points, and I just really thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and looking forward to you coming back when you get those new books out so we can hear some of the more golden nuggets. Okay.
Oh, sounds wonderful. The next book is an anthology book. It's got 12 other women in it, so it'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we just thank you guys so much for watching with us today and want to wish you a nice, happy Thursday evening, and go out there and think about whether you're the carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. And you may start out being one of those, but decide you want to be the coffee bean. So it takes changing your mindset, doing things different so you can get where the coffee beans are. So we thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys the next time. Have a great evening.
Bye bye.